profound. How do we ensure that justice is not left behind in a society that is moving at breakneck speed, including in this country, with regard to technological advancement? How do we ensure that justice is not left behind? Because if it is bad for society and it is bad for justice. And so tonight we explore that challenge and that opportunity, because though it is a challenge, it also brings an incredible opportunity. And we join the Law Society in exploring that challenge and that opportunity. Will we be able to make digital tools that make justice, access to justice faster, more transparent? This conversation, colleagues, we are happy that you've joined us. It's a sort of conversation you should be in. A few weeks ago, we hosted someone, Gerald from Barefoot Law. And just then like now, today's conversation is about not just a festival tomorrow, but it's really about the future. Will we shape the future, or will we just see the future happen? There's a fantastic nursery story told of a man called, not Alfred, a man called was the leader of America. And when he woke up, George Washington was the leader of America. And he had slept, they say, through a great revolution, the American War of Independence. Similarly, are we going to wake up? Have we gone to sleep? And will we wake up like Rip Van Winkle when the world has passed us by? Or is there something we are going to do about digitization in the practice of law and in the delivery of justice? So it's a conversation about the future. Colleagues and friends, welcome to the Kasiki of the Digital Transformation Festival. And tonight, we are joined by none other than Tony. Tony is I think you're the convener, if I can call it that.
Wow.
Huh?
Sure. You
need to run
Sure. Thank you very much, Mr. Karuhanga. I'm glad to say that by instruction, the convener.
Okay, thank you. Tony is how do I describe it? A dynamic legal professional, a thought leader. He's a managing partner of Diamond Advocates, I believe, but also you have something called Legal Tech Solutions. He's, I think, a founder of Legal Tech Solutions. And you also have this legal research AI tools that you've been developing. So this is the man. While we're talking about going to the future, we have been honored by a guest who is in the future. He has reached the future, and now he is now in the movie Back to the Future. He has come to help take us with him to this future of revolutionizing the practice of law in the Republic of Uganda. I'm also joined, as usual, by my colleagues and friends, Alfred Muyaka and Joy Mbabazi. Someone once called her something else, but we are honored. I think Mercy was supposed to be joining as well. And we're here to hit the ball rolling. And I think we'll start before we get into the nitty-gritty of today's conversation, before we start talking about the future. I think our first question to you, Tony, is a traditional question we ask on these judicial service conversations. These judicial service conversations, for the uninitiated, are the leading, what do I call it, platform for legal discussions in this country. The people are demanding, and I hope either the Law Council or the Law Society is on, the people are demanding CLE points. The lawyers are saying that they have learned a lot from these conversations because they are being hosted by the future, because we're in the future representative of the Law Society to the Judicial Service Commission. So for those who don't know, this is the Judicial Service Conversations. We are here every Wednesday at 7 p.m. in the city of Kampala. Now, Tony, Mr. Galandi Tony, tell us about yourself. Who are you and what makes you tick?
Thank you very much, Mr. Karuhanga. First of all, I want to appreciate and put it very straight that I'm very honored and humbled to appear on this very popular platform. And I also want to thank you and the team because you have changed the narrative, you have changed the conversation, and you are not only speaking to the lawyers. You know, your viewership goes beyond the lawyers. They speak the common man. Who is Tony Chire Galandi? My father would not be impressed if I left the family name. So for the record, my name is Tony Chire Galandi. I am the founding partner and managing partner of Diamond Advocates. I am also the founding director of a local tech company called Late Tech Associates and Consult. And it's a company that has been, that is behind the innovations, including the iLawyer and LexChat. These are innovations that are, helping shape legal practice of today. So briefly, Galandi Tony is a family man. I am married to Dr. Rose Nakasi. Dr. Rose Nakasi holds a PhD in computer science in Makerere University, specializing in artificial intelligence. I have 4 children.
The future is at home.
I have 4 children. I'm a Rotarian, and I also I can broadly say I am a Christian and a God-fearing man. That's the brief about me. Thank you.
Maybe just before we go to the next question, I think I'm seeing questions, people asking to tell us about LexChat and the what lawyer?
Yeah.
The iLawyer. What's that stuff? For us, we are still in the past a bit. Alfred, I know it looks a bit like he's in the future, but me and Joy, we seem we don't know what.
For starters, one of the challenges in our today's legal practice is the fear of moving away from the colonial robes and the jackets of traditional legal practice. We still run a practice where Ellison wants that client from Karamoja to jump on a bus, come to AA chambers, fill in a form, and request for an appointment to see the busy Ellison.
Correct.
And that in itself has created, one, the problem the Alfred Miyakas are facing. That is, there are no jobs. Why? Because only 20% of our population literally is falling under the lawyered community. We have a lot of unlawyered community. And the barrier is because, one, Ellison is not accessible. He's in Kampala. And every lawyer wants to be in Kampala. Number 2, the bureaucracies of accessing Ellison are enormous. Number 4, Ellison is very expensive if you look at the transport in itself. So iLawyer is an app that we thought through and said, look, we are having the churning machine day in, day out, producing for us lawyers. And these lawyers have now literally become brokers. By the way, the brokers are also not happy because these lawyers don't have jobs, so they're also brokers of land. So what the iLawyer app does is that it uploads after entering an agreement with Ellison. Ellison says, yes, I'm a qualified advocate of the High Court of Uganda and all subordinate courts. Number 2, I'm a practicing advocate. So what we do is that we run to law counsel to actually confirm if you are a practicing advocate. We run to Uganda Law Society to confirm if you're actually a member. We ask you to give us recommender of your good behavior so that you don't take the client's money and we are saying, what kind of person did you bring us? So we go through all those reviews, and once we feel that you are fit and proper for purpose, then we will be able to upload you on our app. Now, on the back end, we also have a beautiful lady here who is the client. She stays in Kololo, you know, and the husband is a one Miyaka Alfred, very rich young man. And, you know, all she...
That's usually true. That's usually true.
So what's happening is that the only thing she has access to is a phone, and she's undergoing a lot of domestic violence because of the rich Muyaka.
That's usually not true.
So the only remedy she has is her phone to get legal advice, because the only reason probably she's staying in that very violent relationship or marriage is because she's struggling with that one question. Her only attachment to that home is her children. These are children, probably 3 of them, they're below 7 years of age, and the question she only wants to be answered is simple. If I left Muyaka, can I be able to be given custody of my children? Now, she cannot access Ellison, because Ellison requires her to leave home. And when she's leaving home, the askari says, where are you going? Boss says, when you are leaving, I first call him. 2, she may not even have the money of the volumes Ellison charges, because, you know, Ellison is a top state lawyer and he charges in dollars. So the app comes now to solve that debacle. And how does it do it? It works in a way that, number one, this lady through the app can be able to make a call. She can even have an option of anonymizing herself. And as she's making a call, our aggregator is cutting, you know, money from her mobile money account. So she's able to get cheap labor service, you know, professional service, but also she's creating a job for Ellison, not the big Ellison who has the money, but that Ellison who has just left law school and has a practical certificate and is not having a job. So because our baseline is that this is a practicing advocate, we expect that he's going to give professional advice. Now, we are creating efficiency, we are creating access, we are creating availability, we are creating jobs. Because number one, she is now able to find that solution that has been keeping her in that domestic violence. Saying, oh, the lawyer has told me that since these children are below 7 years of age, I qualify to take custody as long as I can prove that I can be able to cater for them. Oh, good, solved. And then probably, these are imaginative figures, maybe the first call she makes, she's charged 10,000 shillings. You know, that's the first 1 minute, maybe 10,000 shillings. And if she continues talking, the next 1 minute maybe goes for 500 shillings. All said and done, at the end of it all, there is a solution plan. Some of it is going to the aggregator, some of it is going to this lawyer, and then she's getting a solution. So we are bringing justice to the bedroom. You don't live to live, you know, you are helping a client not to leave the bedroom, but still get justice. That's about the iLawyer app. Then when it comes to the LexChat app, one of the challenges senior lawyers and colleagues like Ellison are facing today is that we are having our tech survey, lawyers we're employing today. Now, these tech savvy lawyers are not belonging to your generation. They are the Gen Zs. For us, we are maybe the millennials.
The Gen Z generation.
The Gen Z generation. Their language is completely different. They have the aura moment. We don't resign. We ghost you. So they're in a completely different world. Now,
I was dealing with a ghost in
so what's happening is that with this Lego AI assistant, is it helps this young lawyer be able to draft pleadings, it helps this young lawyer check for basic mistakes, because some of the embarrassments we get is the language. You draft a document, a lawyer brings you a document and say, my God, did this person do literature? I mean, the language is a problem. Now, LexChat helps you to be able to fine-tune this. But most importantly is that we have customized this system for our setting. Because we have trained this data using the law reports here, using the precedents here. So this is going to solve a problem of you giving an assignment to that young man, and he's coming back after 30 minutes, says, I'm done, simply because he has run whatever assignment you have given him in an AI, chatbot, whatever, on a system she found online, and therefore you are having cases being quoted that do not exist. You are having precedents that do not exist. So by this being customized to our local system here, it is able to actually work based on our system, based on our precedents. By the way, it is able to summarize those 500 pages you want to read of the Supreme Court decision, Alcon versus Alcon, whatever, and you're looking for a particular precedent. So with LexChat, you'll be able to type in, and it will give you the judge, it will give you the page, it will give you the principle, it can summarize the legal issues. Wow. So that is the disruption we are talking about. So basically, that is about the iLawyer, the question which is coming through. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tony. And I think, thank you. As I told you, if you're just joining us, we are in the future. This is the Judicial Service Conversation, and this is the Kasiki of the Digital of the Digital Transformation Festival. And I want us to go to that before I hand over to Joy. So I want us to go to that. Uganda Law Society has always had the annual law conference. And this year, I think they have reimagined the annual law conference as the Digital Transformation Festival. Why does this shift matter for the legal profession in Uganda right now? And what is this about? We know you've been at the heart of it, and so what is it about? I can also see very many members of the council on, including the president. I see the vice president. I see Mr. Nangulu. I would have asked any of them, but I think as the man who is convening this, how we are transforming it, I see some of the former leaders of the Law Society on. I see Mr. Nicholas Opio, who was once our secretary. So the question is, we are now changing it from the annual law conference to the Digital Transformation Festival. Why does this shift matter for the legal profession in Uganda right now, and why this shift?
Thank you very much, Elson. First of all, I want to shock you that many people are suffering from understanding this concept like I did. My first interface with President Isaac Semakade, because I had actually not understood the radical new back. And when you read it, the first thing which comes into your mind is radicalism. So I am like, okay, Isaac, what's this? Because I had all this negativity. I think, what's Isaac pushing? Radicalism all through, what is this? But when you sit down with Isaac, and that was my turning point, by the way, to align with this vision. When you sit with Isaac, he says, I think you have not basically understood conceptualization, because when we say radical new bar, and you are talking about demilitarization, we are talking about decolonization, we are talking about digital transformation, all these are a cocktail and a stepping stone into the disruption, because when you are coming with a disruption, you are going to expect resistance. So you must be radical to that resistance. And fight on. And when you are talking about demilitarization, is that there are people who are beneficiaries of the hardcore and bureaucratic system, and they will definitely fight back. So I think this was, in his opinion, was, can we prepare for where we are going? Now, when I get back to your question, without digressing that much, why the change? And why now? It has not started today. We are only behind. 25 years ago, a certain professor of law, very interested in AI, 25 years ago, Sansan kid, predicted that in the future, we the lawyers will not have a lot of work to do. And he talked about all these things. So when Isaac comes into play and he says, we have been having the annual lawyers conference, thanks to the initiator, I think it was President Gimara Francis who started it, whatever.
President Sebatindira.
Or Sebatindira, thereabout. He says, but things have changed. The conversation must change. This business of us coming and we're having all these nice speeches about insolvents using the very colonial laws, talking about, IP using the very colonial laws, when digitally things are changing. We are talking about e-laws today. Digitally the practice is changing because today Ellison is in high court, discussing, a criminal matter with respect to robbery. Now, the Ellison of 1980, if you found the Ellison of today discussing robbery of a bank, they will completely not understand each other, because the robber of 1980 needed probably hammer, needed 20 gun, 20 guys to go and break down doors and enter into a bank, carry the cash in the van. Now the Ellison is now dealing with a robber who sits in Panama Island with a PC, 18 years, 13 years old, 15 years old. He's a geek. He plays with his gadget. And you know what? He's hacking Bank of Uganda and transferring money to Japan, and then from Japan to Seychelles, from Seychelles, and you can't track. He's actually in the middle of a sea on a boat somewhere. So unless we are able to appreciate that this disruption is taking place and the legal practice is changing, we cannot be able to align with this vision. And that is why the now. And I think that's why the president said there is going to be radicalism, there is going to be demilitarization, there is going to be decolonialization. So the disruption is because of the storm. The storm is moving real quick. The storm is really moving real fast. The conversation in legal practice is going to change. Today, when I go to court, you know what I'm dealing with? I'm dealing with fraud on land, a title superimposed on another, a freehold sitting on a mile. That's the conversation. But you know what happens tomorrow if blockchain technology is adopted, that you will not have double titling automatically because the system will reject it? Then will I have a job? Will the conversation remain the same? So we need to have, and that's why the now, that's why the radical new back council is saying, amidst the resistance, because disruption and change always faces resistance, we are going to push this. And I'm glad, Elson, you have aligned and you give us a platform like this one to be able to talk to our people. So we are saying this is a rebrand. We are not saying that, we have done away with the law conference, but we are rebranding. Can we be able to bring to that lawyer something better? Can we give a reason why a lawyer should be able to get on that bus 7 hours from Arua, from Momoyo, to come and attend this conference? To come and listen to Diamond advocates discussing how the iLawyer works, so that he knows that, hey, wait a minute, by the way, I can actually be able to offer professional advice to a guy in Gulu when I'm in Moyo. So that is the purpose of this conversation. And I promise you, without really eating a lot into the time, the president gave us a directive. And he said, everything can stay on hold. Spend whatever you want to spend on exhibitors. I want exhibitors in there with legal tech solutions. And you're going to find a lot of exhibitors. Yeah. We are going to, and we are not focusing on only private exhibitors. We have gone an extra mile. We are saying, look, there are disruptions literally in everything. And we want to understand these technological movements. We are saying we are having doctors who are innovating artificial intelligence in treatment, in data collections. What ethics are being followed? The lawyers, we have sat back because we are still colonial. I will shock you. You find, I happen to sit on the panel that is drawing a policy regulating AI in health. And by the time I joined this panel, we had 10 people, and I'm the only lawyer, and I'm like, wait a minute. These are conversations that should be by lawyers. So non-lawyers are busy drafting policies that we are supposed to argue tomorrow. So that is why the disruption. That's why the Tech Fest. We need to get interested in this conversation. And that's why it's not just a mere conversation, a mere conference. It is a conversation.
Not a mere conference.
Is done.
Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much for that. We bring the aura, we bring all that, and thank you for taking us to the future. Yeah, we appreciate that. And I like what Elton said. He said when you introduced your wife, and she's also into AI, you said you live in the future. The future is home. Yeah. So we're glad to have a little bit of that flowing right now. Sorry for trying to get something sorted, but over to you, sir. I would like to find out, we see that technology has transformed nearly every sector. We're talking about finance, and you've mentioned health as well. Look at education and all that. So would like you to take us through a little bit in why has the law been a little bit slower in adapting to this, and what do you think it would take to be able to change that, since this is something that you're already dealing in? Would you please take us through and how we can catch up and also be in the future?
Thank you very much. I will start with why has it taken us a slow pace? Literally, every change is slow. And until the people take it upon themselves to embrace it, it will be slow. Do you know when the last time you changed on the side of the bed you sleep in? There's a particular spot you sleep in. For some reason. The mind tells you that if it is okay, there's no reason for change. So literally, this disruption, is slow because it's natural. And I'm very happy that the radical new bar said, wait a minute, we need to wake up. We need to wake up. So the slow it's a natural thing. You'll find that a person who has been doing the filing annually, you're making him lose a job. And why should he be very fast to embrace this technology? With due respect, a judge who has been taking bribes, for example, and you are telling him, now let us have a system tracking that Ellison can be in the comfort of his place and do the filing and check on how the matter is proceeding, and also be able to do what we call as a virtual hearing. I was in Nairobi the other day, and I was visiting a friend, and I can tell you, these guys, few judges are going to courtrooms for most of these matters. Be on your gadget, and why should a person who is asking for a bail application and it has been granted, and you know what, the guy can't go home because the printer in Lira is down. So the disruption, the resistance is natural because they are beneficiaries of the system. And when we say these words, they don't augur well because they appear to be so combative. But we don't have any better words to use. So the resistance is natural, not only to the bench, but to the bar. And not only to the bar, but also to the members who are working in these institutions. So that is the reason why it is slow. Is there something that can be done about that? Of course, yes. Of course, yes. And for the starting point is when you have some of the prominent lawyers we look forward to, like Elson, dedicating space today and say, you know what, today I am not focusing on promoting my firm. I'm focusing on how do we do the bigger good. We are having judges, like Dr. Kriabwire and Gondantend, moving a step and say, look, I think we need this alchemist thing. We need this digitalization. So there is need for all of us in all areas to embrace this. Let us not resist this. Let us embrace it. And that's the reason why you need to come for the Tech Festival, because it's going to change your mindset. I have been in conversation with some of these, I've moved literally to over 200 law firms. Almost, almost on a daily, I'm moving law firm to law firm. And the conversation is natural. There is that resistance. So you guys have replaced our annual lawyers conference. What is even this thing called TechFest? That is for technology guys. You think you guys? So there is that. And then there is also the fact that we have the people we look forward to who have been practicing this way from the 1980s, okay? And they have no reason for change, really. Been practicing like this. The money keeps coming through. The retainers are there. Yeah, the boys are working. So Ellison, you are talking about really the things. Yeah. So, the change in status quo is what has slowed down. And if you asked me that, what do we need to be able to change the speed of this disruption, is we need people like Ellison to spread this gospel. This gospel should not come from the Muyakas who are the Gen Z. Because when the Gen Zs are spreading this gospel, the question is, those are things, those young men there, they are unruly. Yeah? In this Gen Z generation is a problem. Yeah? But when they hear it from...
I'm also Gen Z.
Ellison, you're a millennial. You don't understand the terminologies of aura, ghosting. So, this conversation should be embraced. And I'm glad in this conversation which we are having this week, we are blessed to have people like Professor Sempewa. In a village where I come from, they say on a rainy day, the young ones drum and the elders dance. And I'm glad that there is this embrace. We have Senior Counsel Adrico said, I want to join this conversation to learn from the young. I want the young to drum and I dance this time round. We are having Senior Counsel Resida is joining us in this conversation, so that we are able to have, the elders, senior members of the bar taking a forefront into this conversation, so there are steps. They may be baby steps, but there are steps. And I'm glad that the Radical New Bar started this conversation, and it is moving bushfire in the near future.
The digital transformation is indeed here, but you can feel it in the future. But I have a question related to court and judicial and the technology. But before I ask it, there's a question which is burning. And since today's Kasiki for digital transformation, I need first pass out before I go that far. Someone is saying, lawyers say, if it's not a Benz, it's not a car. It's just a means of transport. And tomorrow there is winning a Benz for people who a person is going to attend. So this person is asking, how does he get to win the Benz? Because he's tired of using a means of transport. Now he wants to use a car. And if it's not a Benz, it's not a car. So how does he get to win that Benz which you have been talking about? Before you get to my question, thank you.
Wow, how does he win to win the Benz and not a car? In Tambula and not a Chiduka. There is a young man called Chigula who, I don't know if you guys have, come across. There's a young man called Chigula who has written a dissertation on the effect of the Mercedes-Benz on the profession of lawyers. So yes. I guess you realize now why of all cars we picked a Benz. If you have seen Ellison, you have seen him rolling in that Benz. So the young people look forward to that. Now, how does somebody win the Benz? What we've done is that, number one, for you to qualify, you must have bought a ticket, because that ticket is not what's going to run in the raffle. So, and that means you are paid either to attend online, that is only 200,000.
Yes.
Yeah, Elson will tell you that is that is less than $50. Yeah, 200,000. You take your girlfriend out 2-3 times, the money is gone. But that money can be invested, and you have the latest Mercedes Benz. Yeah?
That's
or transport man over the weekend. Number two, you can also, if you're a young lawyer, you can pay 400,000 to attend physical. And that also qualifies you automatically. If you are a lawyer who is already driving a Mercedes Benz and you want to add on another one, you pay 500,000, the senior lawyers, and that ticket helps you to join in there. Okay. So, so once you pay a ticket, you automatically qualify to run the raffle.
Thank you. For the person there who has been asking, you only need to pay 200,000 for a young lawyer.
You need to buy many tickets.
Or 400,000 to attend physically, or 500,000 for the seniors, and you attend and win a chance to come out with the car, not a tumbler. So you can go back to our questions. Now, when talking of technology, we see judicially all courts using technology just for administrative convenience. Like I'll send you judgment on email. Maybe I'll give you a date on Vikings. But I believe technology can do more than that, because as you have just said, where lawyers can avoid interfacing with judges physically, where the example may be for asking for a bribe or what, and you use technology to do whatever you have to do, and you get whatever you have to get. So I believe technology also can do more than administrative convenience. So from your end, as a tech family, well, who is already in the future, because for you leave tech from home to work and everywhere. So, and you have practiced for quite a long time. So how do you think, how can we ensure that how do we ensure that technology strengthens judicial independence rather than becoming a tool for administrative convenience at the expense of constitutional safeguards? Because I believe it can be used more than just administrative convenience, but it can even be used to ensure judicial independence and strengthen it, probably. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alfred. I will keep repeating this, is, the embracing is the first starting point.
Yes.
Do you know that up to today, less than 50% of the judges send their judgments by email, even with IKIMIS? Did you know that? Did you know that despite the fact that we are having all these systems in place, there are some judges who are not, they're saying, you come to court, I will deliver my what? My judgment.
Yes.
So embracing. And number two, we should also stop looking at this disruption, this innovation as a solution, as a painkiller for these challenges. Other jurisdictions, I will tell you, for example, for purposes of avoiding bias, okay, they are using these tools and they give them a human face, a human feeling, okay? They're using these tools deeper, to the extent that I was giving you an example of lecture by Diamond Advocates. What happens is that if a judge is analyzing your pleadings, that does not take away his head. But when he uses technology, he should be able to run. He's focusing on a particular precedent, which is, he's not sure. He's running that particular position, that particular issue, possession on land. And he's focusing on Supreme Court decisions. And is interested in a particular judge who moves him, maybe Elson. Says, this guy is good, so let me look at all his judgments. Without necessarily going to read all the 20, 200, to 20 judgments on possession, he should be able to run so that all these specific pleadings on possession by this particular judge come through. So there is need for the courts to go beyond looking at this as a medium of delivery of just judgment. Because that's what we are doing, literally.
Yes,
we are only focusing on one thing. Oh, also now you can file from your place, you can check on the system, and they will send you a judgment.
Yes,
But this is deeper than that. Do you know that in Kenya, for example, just neighborhood here, their Kenya law online system had 300,000 cases. Google it and you'll be shocked. Do you know when you move to Tanzania, their equivalent of URI has 57,000 cases. Do you know what we have on our URI?
No.
25,000 cases, max. We have a richer jurisprudence system here than these neighbors of ours, by the way. You'll be surprised. So there is need for us to have these on the system. The reason why today I am not able, I'm doing pleadings that are affecting my client is because there is a Supreme Court decision that came out 1 month ago. It is not online. It has not been uploaded. So I am dealing with a principle in law and basing on a judgment 5 years ago by the Supreme Court, because now this is the supreme position on this matter. But this position has changed and I'm not in the know. So there is need. In Kenya, for example, within the next 12 hours after Supreme Court decision has been made, it will be on the system. It will be on online. It will be uploaded on their online law library. And I think that is the starting point. People in our law library should be more effective than they are. They should be more intentional than they are. So that is the starting point. Thank you very much, Alfred. I hope I've answered your question to satisfaction.
Thank you for that as well. Now, thankfully, you're talking about the filing system, and if I might just proceed with that. We've seen e-filing, we've seen bits of virtual hearings, and you've also mentioned that. And we've also seen digital registries. But how far are we from a fully integrated paperless justice system in Uganda? Could you please also expound on that from your experience and maybe any recommendations, if any?
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, a paperless system, we are still on baby steps, like I've said. I don't want to speak for the judiciary because I'm not their spokesperson. But I am very, very glad that we have senior members of the bench who are propagating this conversation at a higher speed than it should be. And many of them have actually reached out to the radical new bar, saying, well, we may not align with your school of thought and your approach, but we like your idea. How can you be helpful? And I think for me, that is a fair conversation. So on how far, I think we are still really very behind, honestly speaking, on the e-filing, on the virtual reality. It's still a bit of a problem. You realize that we have not even covered the courts right now with these systems, all the courts across the country. Some jurisdictions, not far from here, just Rwanda, it's a common song. Almost 90% of their court systems are on the system. But also, there must be an intentional investment by government into the cyber security protection. Because you see, it's not a question of only saying, look, we have these virtual realities, but if we are having a situation where the system is going to be hacked tomorrow, and that's why we are having this conversation. Among the people we have invited cyber security experts, so that we have a discussion on the data. We are saying, okay, if somebody is using a system, can't it be hacked along the way, so that as where judgment is coming, there are certain orders where the tech survey Alfred is able to add them, so by the time it is reaching the two lawyers, there is that order which was not part of the judgment. So Yeah, so to answer your question, yes, we are moving, but my argument is that, one, we are slow. Number two is that I strongly believe the budget constraints, the government has not been very intentional in investing in this. It is investing on the primaries. We are basically busy romancing with the lips, to say the least.
It does not ask you to expound on what else we can romance with. But if you're just joining us, welcome to Judicial Service Conversations. We are honored and privileged to have none other than Mr. Galandi Tony Chire. I'm told the family name is crucial. We can't leave it out. And we are discussing the future. This is the Kasiki of the Digital Transformation event being hosted by the Uganda Law Society, and we are in a conversation about the future. So if you're just joining us, welcome, and we are happy and honored to have you with us. Tony, in a country like Uganda, we have a significant rural population, a large number of poor people, if I can call them that. How do you bridge the digital divide so that technology in law doesn't deepen inequality in access to justice? Because bigger firms, bigger lawyers, bigger corporations will be able to deploy technology easier than people who don't have means. So I think one of the questions people are having is, how do you just make sure that better technology does not deepen inequality?
Wow. You know, disruption comes with a cost, and it's normally a painful cost. Ultimately, there are factors, some of them have financial implications that are going to affect this digitalization. Between the poor man deep in a village in Namaja, deep in a village in Kisoro. But you must also appreciate, Ellison, that if this conversation was on 1984, when I was born, it would be very different. But today we are talking about people deep in my village who have a smartphone for purposes of betting. I think you get, so there has been a lot of penetration of the digital phones down to the ground. So how can we bridge? Let us first of all leverage with what we have. I can tell you that in every 10 youth, even in the deepest of the villages, in every 10 youth, you have one youth who has that smartphone. The only thing is that he does not know how to use it. He's either using it for betting or for watching pornography. By the way, one of the biggest industries of internet is pornography. I was talking to my president, Isaac Semakandete. We were having a very funny conversation this morning. And he said, Tony, don't be Catholic. I can tell you the biggest money which was made by the internet was tackling, it was pornography. That aside, what I'm saying is that, Ellison, one, in the villages, there has been digital penetration. The judiciary should be able to move an extra mile to be able to sensitize communities on how they can use their gadgets to access justice. It's just as simple as that. We may not need to invest much. These cocktail conferences in Serena and launching of some of these things do not impact on the local man in Budaka. Can we have a conversation where we are saying we are going to help local people to learn on how they can be able to check on the progress of their cases using the system? In this digital era, honestly, why should a person who wants to know the status of his case have to call Ellison, who is in high court handling a murder trial the whole day, to know whether or not his matter is coming up tomorrow? Why? And yet this person has access to a digital phone.
That's a real life example.
So he's in court, he's saying, look, this state and attorney guy is always playing big mouse. Now that I have all the witnesses here, I'm ready to proceed. I'm going to examine all of them, and the judge is saying, okay, there you go. So there is this desperate client, he does not know whether the matter is actually coming up tomorrow for hearing, whatever. So he's calling non-stop. And Ellison is irritated because there is this guy who won't stop calling, but also the client is frustrated. So the judiciary is creating an environment of two frustrated parties, yet there can be a solution. Some of these things is about sensitization and embracing this technology. There's certain things that should not be working in this era. No, not in this era.
Totally agree. And thankfully, you've hinted on Omuntu wa Wansi. I think I want to build up on that, taking it to the citizens. What legal and ethical safeguards do you think should be put in place to protect the rights of the citizens in a tech-enabled justice system? I know you hinted a little bit on the need for investment when it comes to the government and all that, but when it comes to the citizen side, what do you think could be some of those safeguards that can be put in place to know that they're actually safe with their data? Thank you.
Well, I will start with telling you a story. First of all, they tell us that when Google developed an application called Android, it gave it to us for free. For those of you running,
Android phones.
Empulizaganya rather than empulizaganya rather than a SIM. So when it did that, you opened your door to free data and access, because every app you are going to download on Google Play, on your Android, they're asking for your email, they're asking for your PIN, they actually ask you to access the location. So you're giving them access to your location. Okay? Now, there is a lot of data we are giving out. The fact that there is a lot of data we are giving out in itself calls for ethical considerations. Because these digital systems we are going to partake or to unload on, they are going to demand for our data. And that's why ethical consideration, as a lawyer who is having this data, what are those ethical regulations that have been put in place? So the first thing is that the Ellisons should be able to push for policy guidelines, should be able to push for laws, should be able to put for regulations. Some of these things are in the mandates of the Minister of Constitutional Affairs, my friend, Mr. President, Honorable Robert Mao. He has some of this mandate to have some of these approvals. The Chief Justice has been given the latitude to be able to push some of these guidelines without necessarily going to Parliament, first of all. So there must be ethical guidelines that should be developed when it comes to data. Because you are getting access to data as a data collector. And I'm very glad my friend Rotarian Stella Alibatese, before she left, I think NITA and as the Office of Data Protection.
Our Lordship now.
Her Lordship.
Yes.
Rotarians prefer being called Rotarians than other titles. So,
Rotarian Lordship.
Okay, Rotarian Lordship Stella Alibatese. So the Data Protection Office has put in place some guidelines, but these are general guidelines when it comes to data. Can we as a judiciary be able to come up with some of the guiding guidelines when it comes to data, because you cannot deal with digital solutions without dealing with the data. And for you to protect the client, there must be guidelines on this data, who accesses it, who has rights over it, and how is it protected. So for starters, we need guidelines on ethical considerations, on ethical processes of getting this data. I hope I've answered your question.
Now, you have talked of disruption and how disruption comes with the cost, and it comes with a painful cost. And one cost which has come with technology is displacing people from their jobs, including the lawyers. And as you said, in the future, you predict that in the future, lawyers will not have a lot of work to do. And from what we see, I think the future is already here, cutters of technology, because talking of most young lawyers don't have jobs, and this could be because of technology. And those with jobs also don't seem not to have work to do because of technology. Because if you are a senior, I would come to you as, I'm good at legal research, but then you're using your lawyer or the lecture to do your research. Where I would come like, I can read for you judgment and summarize for you. You're using your AI to research, your lecture to research. So it means somehow I don't have anything to do for you. So, but then we need to survive or to thrive as not only young lawyers alone, but everyone. But I'll speak for young lawyers in this particular instance. So my question is, how can young lawyers position themselves to thrive in this tech-driven legal market rather than be displaced by it? Because right now, I think they could be just surviving with that AI of ChatGTP of refine for me, then it brings for you, and there's nothing he has done.
That sounds like a confession.
He does his manyanga in courts. He goes to ChatGPT, refine for me, then he brings, and for you go to LexChat, and there's nothing he has done. So somehow he has been disrupted by technology and is displacing him, and is just now surviving, yet he needs to thrive. So how can young lawyers, those already practicing, those who are still just studying, best position themselves to thrive in this tech-driven legal market rather than be displaced by it? Thank you.
Thank you very much. First of all, I think the young lawyer today should learn to invest in himself on the basics.
Yes.
Do you know why Ellison is able to have you on this conversation today? It's because you have distinguished yourself from the young lawyer you studied with at LDC. You have gone an extra mile to invest in yourself and say, wait a minute, I think I need to know something more than what I learned from law school. Yes. There are so many free online courses which you don't need to pay to learn some of the things. Today, you'll find very few lawyers who can be able to tell you much about the regulations and about cryptocurrencies, but they are busy asking, a guy who ended in senior 5 who has learned by experience and now cryptocurrency. How can I invest in cryptocurrencies? But he's the lawyer. So there must be deliberate need and drive and thirst by the young man to be able to invest in himself. Instead of being on that, scrolling those sassy thighs of whatever on TikTok, it's the dopamine effect, can we invest more time in improving ourselves? That's step number one, because there's lots of free online courses. Number two, these innovations should be in a position to put us in a place where we are competitive. When me and Elson were studying, we had type secretaries who would type. Today, those secretaries are gone. But some that adapted and moved to the computer are still having jobs. Those who were not able to adapt to the computer are gone. So it is going to take that lawyer, that young lawyer who is going to adapt. And this adaptation is not hard. It's just you taking the deliberate move. Because there are going to be opportunities. I'll give you a very good example. You know, first of all, I want to confess that I am conflicted because I will keep using the example that is within my practice. Okay? Look at an example of the iLawyer app. Whereas the coming in of LexChat is going to make Muyaka lose his job at KAA. Why? Because Ellison no longer needs those 20 legal associates. He now needs 3. The best ones who are able to have this thing customized to have a human face. The iLawyer is creating a job for Muyaka to practice without sitting in KAA chambers. Why? Because as long as he's online, as long as he has a good track record, because there are going to be reviews, as long as clients comment that, oh, you know, my lawyer, I got him, he gave me this very good advice, and I think really, he's now getting a job. So there is taking out of jobs and creating of more jobs. There is, if I told you that less than 30% of the Uganda's population is lawyered, where is the 70? So technology is going to create jobs. I don't believe in this thing called gatekeeping, where they're telling us, you know, let's just put in, the lawyers are too many. Let's just put barriers to ensure that we reduce the number of lawyers that are coming out. I can tell you, in my honest opinion, the lawyers we have for this country are so few to provide service. They are very few. The only problem is we have not embraced technology. So what is happening is that a client in a leader would rather go to the LC1 chairperson and they deal with their land matter. Why? Because Muyaka, you're in Kampala. This guy can't access you. You have a lot of bureaucracy. Eh? There's a lot of, you want an appointment, you want them to call you through your PA, and the PA says, you know, he doesn't pick calls starting from 4. That bureaucracy does not work for the guy down there. Yeah? So these disruptions are not taking away jobs only, but they are creating a bigger job market. Do you know what it means? Let's just look at it, simple mathematics. If this app says that for every 1 minute, the first 1 minute is 10,000 shillings. I'm giving visual examples. The first 1 minute is 10,000 shillings. The lawyer is taking 5,000. The 5,000 is going on the management, the aggregator, the MTN that is connecting us and so on. Okay? And the next 1 minute we are charging it 500 shillings. And there is this emotional lady who really wants to pour out. Okay? And she's willing to speak for 100 minutes. Yes. So 500 multiplied by 100 is 50,000. Correct? Yes. Plus the other 5,000. That is 55,000. Yes. Even if you went by a figure of 50,000, if the lawyer is taking 25,000 on that call, okay? If this lawyer in a day had only 10 calls, that is 250,000 shillings for the lawyer. If in the whole month he only received calls in 10 days, that is 2.5 million what? Shillings. And I can tell you without any iota of doubt, okay, there are a few firms of our nature that are paying legal associates 2.5 million shillings.
Yes, I agree.
So this technology should be able to actually lift the lawyer to another level without spending much. Of course, Ellison will tell you this is a disruption, and for us as the disruptors, we are expecting a bit of resistance. There are going to be issues of contracts of champate. There are going to be things of, you know, isn't that brokerage in legal practice? So the 5,000, isn't it going to a broker? Those conversations are going to come. But those are colonial laws that should not be able to strangle access to what? To justice. Because this access there must be a medium, and that medium must come with a cost. So we either choose to stick to the colonial laws and have our people lack justice and take away jobs when the jobs can be created. 90% of these chaos that we are having today is simply because people fear to access lawyers. They can't access, we are too expensive. Yet we can still make the money without being very expensive. Ellison will tell you that 90% of the issues he's dealing with in land is because of very defective agreements of bush lawyers. Brokers now, I'm telling you, what is happening is that brokers now are better lawyers for the clients because they are not expensive and they are available. Hey, a guy has a problem. He wants money to take his child to Makerere. They are starting tomorrow. He has got a buyer for land. The buyer is brought by a broker. You not tell him to first look for Miyaka who is going to take 6 hours before he picks a call. The broker says, I'm saying, the other side. We have an agreement we used. We can use that one with all its defects. So these solutions should be able to create jobs. We should be able to embrace them. And if we don't embrace them, today, what's happening is that clients are coming to our offices with agreements drafted. He says, counsel, now I have an agreement which was developed by AI. What I want is to see how you can add on something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
And I was having a conversation with a colleague in Silicon Valley last year. And we're having a conversation of a cup of tea. And he said, man, Tony, I just don't understand this. Can you imagine this guy has subjected my agreement to AI, and he has written back and says the strength level of my agreement is 40%. It's 40%, and he's saying I have not justified enough why he should pay me professional fees. That's where we're going. Yes, because these guys are now believing in these AI tools more than us, the human brains, and if we don't adapt, I'm telling you, we are going to have a problem. Thank you very much, Alfred. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Tony. There's a question I want to come to, which is about digital literacy, because what you've been saying basically is how we can adapt, and basically there's this term digital literacy. What does it mean for a 21st century lawyer? But before we go to that question, I'm receiving questions here, and I think there's some interest from some people, some of them actually non-lawyers, and they want to know about the festival. They want to know about so tomorrow starts. There's this festival, you talked about the exhibitors. What's the general layout of tomorrow? And there are many members of the Law Society who are here. I know Alfred has already sent advice to some people who want Benzes that they should buy many they should buy many tickets so that the law of probability can assist them. But there are many people here though who want to know about that conference and what happens tomorrow, how does it work, how is it different from the annual law conference, and what should be the expectation of someone. Then then after Joy has a burning question. I can see it.
Wow. I'll give thank you. So talking about tomorrow, the organizing committee was very
How many days is it?
First of all, this conference is taking strictly 2 days. It's Thursday, starting from 9 a.m. in the morning. That's when officially we are starting. although the opening starts at 8:30. We are going to have a bit of entertainment. The president has directed that, says, look, we are looking at access to justice. So we will have a presentation by vulnerable children. Very powerful, you can't miss it. So come in early and you'll be able to benefit from that. Two, we are, apart from having that, then we have been blessed to have we have been blessed to have the presence of the Honorable Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, the Honorable Norbert Mao. And the Honorable Norbert Mao will be invited by our most perpendicular president. You know, before I got to understand why he uses some of these terminologies, I used to get so irritated. What do you mean by the most perpendicular? But when you get close to him, you actually get to learn. You know, he says, no gulag, and there is no gatekeeping, so we need to be perpendicular. So our most perpendicular president will be inviting the Honorable Norbert Mao. By virtue of protocol, our keynote speaker, celebrated by the way, world over, if you Google him, you realize he's the right guy for the right pitch. He's the best outfit for this. You know, Professor Bitange, the guy behind the seamless network internet we are having today. Those who may not know much about Professor Bitange and Demo, he's the guy who went an extra mile to start the conversation. We need a fiber network in the sea connecting to the east of Africa. And that's why today now you have all these wirings here where we are connecting the fiber network. That's what the guy behind it, so that we had that sea connection. And he saw this many years ago, so he's he's the keynote speaker thereafter. And thereafter we are also, that's on day one, just 1 minute. So after the keynote address, we are going to have breakout rooms. Now the difference here is that these breakout rooms, you choose where you want to go. We are no longer talking insolvents, we are no longer talking, land transactions. So we are having digital justice on demand, and we are blessed to have Honorable Justice Geoffrey Kiriawire heading the discussion on alternative dispute resolution, regulation for inclusive access to justice. The team also has David Kagwa. David Kagwa is the chair, Center for International Arbitration, Uganda chapter. We also have one of the celebrated arbiters, and that is Patson Arinaitwe. From the digital perspective, the ODR in the digital perspective, the conversation is changing. Because previously, even this ODR, I'm a member of Center for International Arbitration, UK. Previously, even making these judgments were not online. They would choose you as an arbiter, and when they choose you as an arbiter, you're supposed to listen to the parties physically. That was then. Now, with these digital systems, the conversation is changing. You can choose an arbiter without seeing him. You can be able to have your judgment so that there are no biases. You don't even need to meet the other party. You don't need to meet this party. That's not my conversation. That would be a conversation for the partisans and so on. So you'll be able to understand some of these clauses. Ellison, are you aware that up to today, a number of judges, a number of lawyers believe that there is no difference between an arbitration clause and a mediation clause? So they believe when you put an arbitration clause, it means that we are, before going to court, we'll first sit and talk. That's the arbitration. So that conversation must be able to take place. And that's why we are having, that panel. Then we also have another panel which is on crypto currency, compliance, crafting legal pathways in digital currency revolution. And we are having a team from Bank of Uganda, for those who are interested in cryptocurrency. These are emerging areas, by the way, of legal practice. When a blockchain takes away our, land matter practice, which everybody is doing, maybe some of us should run there. And
titling.
Titling and conveyancing, right? So we have Dr. Adam Mugume, he's the Director Research Bank of Uganda. We have my friend Robert Chironda on that panel. We have Colin Mugasha, Director IT Bank of Uganda. We also have somebody from MTN, Mobile Money, So that will be one breakout session. There is also another breakout session in another room. And we are talking about crossed wires, bridging generational perspectives in legal tech tensions, learning curves, reverse mentorship, and common ground between senior and young lawyers. So we are having a conversation led by this team, Senior Counsel Moses Adrico of Max, Professor Katende Sempebwa of CATS, Mr. Resida of Nangwala Resida, and our celebrated Miss Miriam Atim of Max. That will be another breakout session. So you choose. You can decide to go the other side, learn from the Elders Cup, or also choose this side and learn something about cryptocurrencies and the regulation and so on. There's so many young men out there who want to invest in some of these things, but they have no idea. They come to ask the lawyers, we also have no idea. So now we are all stuck. It says counsel. We are cryptocurrencies, and it's so funny, Elson. The world out there believes that the lawyer knows everything. So you become an embarrassment to yourself when they are asking you a question and you are calling yourself counsel.
Expert of experts.
So thereafter we'll definitely have a lunch working break. Then we'll have now breakout room 1 where we are going to have safeguarding privacy, focusing on data security, cyber security, risks, transparency, and accountability, exploring the ethical, legal, and cyber security responsibilities of legal professions in an era of escalating digital threats. Now, this to me is a topic that speaks to my heart, because every day we are collecting data. Every day we are having to join all these WhatsApp groups, but our phones are the confidence of our clients' secrets. So we need to join this conversation and get to know, oh, by the way, wait a minute. Somebody can be able to send me WhatsApp and access my data. And when he accesses my data, since my iPhone is synchronized with my MacBook Air, that means he can access my MacBook Air, and therefore he can be able to send out an email, whatever. So these conversations, and we need to learn and see how do these things work, okay? And what can we do to prevent some kind of those hacks? So that team is really very solid. One, we are having Miss Julian Reju, the Acting Director, Government E-Services, NITA. We are having Becca Barikuja, the Acting Director, National Data Protection Office. We are also having Miss Caroline Mugisha, NITA. We are having Mr. Chagara Emmanuel, the CEO Mirima Technologies, one of the local cybersecurity companies around here. He has published a lot. And then we're also having Mustafa Mugisa Summit from Innovation Village. We are having Senior Superintendent of Police, Jimmy Haguma, who is the Acting Commissioner, ECM Uganda. So it's a solid team, and you should be excited to come. Yeah, you should be excited to come because there are so many right now crimes related to internet, related to abuse of data. We have just had a ruling from the Data Protection Office, which has been trending in East Africa, if not Africa. It's one of its kind against Google by Sekamwa Frank. So these are conversations, and we are talking about data. Nobody will think about that. It's a complaint. Yeah, these are conversations we need to be interested in, because if we are going to move away from the traditional, then we need to, and that's why we're very intentional. By the way, for the record, we had the first program, and our most perpendicular president threw it out. He says, "This is not what I want." Think something better. We are going to have women in tech legal practice. So we are having the moderator Linda Ikanza, my neighbor and friend. And we are also having Mabel Kisaka, we are having Yasmin Ahmed, we are having Zubeda Namugenyi, we are having Sandra Acheng, the ED Wugnet. So then we are going to be having a presentation on ECMIS by Professor Paul Muchibi, and that is day one. That's the closing session. It is super packed. It's a cocktail. You choose where to go. You know, we decided to bring a buffet of disruption to the lawyers this time around. So you choose where you want to go. Yeah? Yeah, you can be in this breakout room, you can be in the other breakout room, you can be in the main sessions. So that is day two, and then that will be the closing session. And you are 400,000 for a young lawyer. We are giving you break tea. We are giving you a buffet at Supiki Resort in Munyonyo. Eh? We are equally giving you evening tea. Eh? And we are also giving you all this knowledge. But also, most importantly, we are saying that young lawyer there should be able to win that Mercedes Benz. So all that very money. Eh? So this thing of our money, really, you're going to eat your what? Your money. You're going to eat your money. Eh? Yeah, so that is that's basically day one. But also, this program is not cast in stone, because every other day we are receiving calls for people who want to join this conversation, both locally and abroad. People are requesting to join this conversation. It's the time that's not enough for us. Yeah, people are very much interested to join. So there may be a bit of adjustments in those programs by way of adding a panelist, by way of, you know, by way of, so it's not cast in stone, but ideally that's the draft working program for day one. And thereafter, day two, if you would want me to extend that side, day two, we are going to have a presentation. Day two, we are going to have a presentation by, we are going to have a present. Okay. So the day two starts between 8:30, and we will have a recap of day one. We have the opening ceremony by the president, the most perpendicular Isaac Asemakade, who will invite the permanent secretary, Ministry of ICT. So she has confirmed her presence, and she's very, very delighted to be here. And therefore, thereafter, we will have a presentation showcasing. It's called AI-driven legal tech tools shaping the future of law. Okay, showcasing legal tools, revolutionizing efficiency and client service in modern legal practice, by an innovator and a lawyer. She's called Maria Petrat. She's the head of legal business development at 637 Capital and founder of Responsible Innovators. That's 10 to 10:30. Thereafter, we are going to have from code to courtroom, unlocking logo innovation through public-private partnerships. So here the conversation is going to be led by Helen Mukasa. She's the CEO of Lego Tech Lab, Innovation Village. We are also having Dr. Abdul Salam Waiswa. Dr. Abdul Salam Waiswa is in the legal department of UCC. And there's been lots of conversations with these telecom companies in the recent past, and lots of issues. And the lawyers are wondering where to start from. If you've been on Twitter, you know there is a telecom company right now that has been on war with its clients. Yes. Okay? And the conversation is complicated. You know why? Because the lawyers we have are busy practicing land transactions and land conveyancing. So this is now an issue of the generals because we are talking about data. Yeah? You are talking about online fraud. Now, that's why we're saying, can we have this conversation? And we are saying, can we have telecos join this conversation? Can we have lawyers get interested in this area here? Okay? Thereafter, we will definitely move out to, in break room 2, we are going to have disruptive technologies across various professions and associated considerations. Like I said, the lawyer is expected to know everything, but how are we going to know everything when we are not in the know of some of the ethical guidelines governing other professions? I'll give you a very good example. The Makerere AI Health Lab, declaring conflict, which I represent, they have developed lots of technologies that are digitally testing malaria, cancer, and so on. But this gives them access to patient data. The question is, how are they extracting this data? What are the ethical considerations? As the lawyer must be interested in that conversation. Because tomorrow I'm going to get a client who thinks that his data or her data has been used improperly and he is now being a social misfit because people know that he has cancer or people know that he has AIDS, whatever. It's been stigmatized. So we are asking them, can we have this conversation? What are your ethical considerations? So that layers get in the know across the different professions when they are doing some of these things. You are having architects, for example, who are using AI to come up with these architecture impressions, but then the traditional guy is saying, by the way, that AI thing does not give you specifications for the size of Mutaimbwa. So for you, you are impressed by the artistic impression, but tomorrow that thing is going to collapse. So can we be interested in infrastructure, ethical considerations, for example? So you are having all these conversations in that room, ethical considerations and so on, and maybe the technologies that are affecting their practice, and how does the lawyer come in? How can the lawyer help? And thereafter, we will have the future of the lawyer tomorrow. The case of iLawyer and LexChat, legal AI tools, transforming legal practice and judicial delivery today. I am conflicted again, because I'm one of the presenters on that. I wish I had a better presenter than myself for now, but unfortunately I don't have now. Maybe in the next day, so I'll be presenting that because, you know. And thereafter, we are going to be having tech-enabled layering, pioneering the future of practice and the rule of law. And that is going to be a panel. Senior Counsel Francis Jimara is going to be on that panel. Dorothy Mukasa, Executive Director of the Unwanted Witness Uganda, is going to be on that panel. Mr. Wanyama Edwin of Sipesa is going to be on that panel. Our perpendicular Vice President Anthony is going to be talking about Polidao. Those who have been doing pro bono, you know Polidao. So he's going to be on that panel. We have somebody from Barefoot Law is going to be on that panel. And I'm also glad I will be part of that panel from them and advocates so that we are able to discuss some of these and how the lawyer can be able to pick up something, one or two. Thereafter, we will go for lunch. Of course, a huge lunch buffet. Cut us of your money. And then when you come back, break room 2 is going to be having leveraging on technology to optimize processes and improve customer experience. Now, this way we have been able to pick on organizations that have embraced technology and we are seeing and benefiting. One of them is actually Uganda Registration and Services Bureau, URSB. So we are saying, can we have this conversation? And we learn from you. Can we pick from your leaf and make probably our law firms better efficient places? Okay, what are the challenges? What can we, how can we learn to use your systems better? Okay, what can we be worried about? You know, are there some things which Ellison, who has access to you better than me, is enjoying and I'm not in the know? Okay. We are also going to be having some, Mr. Dennis Kakonge from MTN, just in line with leveraging technology to process and improve customer service, is going to be talking to us with respect to, by the way, also MTN is one of our biggest sponsors. And I am glad when you are driving that Benz, you should know that some of the money is coming from MTN. Yeah, so we also have somebody from NSSF, that is Rachel Ntege, and we'll have somebody from NIRA, that is Rosemary Kisembo. Now, the plus also on NIRA is that Rosemary is the ED. Rosemary is the ED. She has gone an extra mile. It says, wait, if you have not renewed your ID, look no further. Okay. Come and in the comfort of the aerated and the water lake view, come and do your renewal of your national ID. Seamless, no trouble. You are not fighting for lines. You are only conversing, you know, as work is going on. So that's one benefit we are going to be having in that. Then thereafter, we are going to have a presentation from textbooks to tech stacks, transforming legal education for the digital era. It's going to be a presentation by Professor Venatius Bariamureva. Those of us who have been here long enough to see, we know Professor Bariamureva for the transformation of Makerere University, you know, in the digital system. So we are delighted. We want to hear from him on how can we transform. We can't be talking of the tech lawyer, and then we are also at the same time what they are being taught in Makerere, in UCU, and all of these other surrounding university is analog. So we want to have that conversation so that it may motivate some stakeholders. Now, it's a breakout room. You can choose to go here or go the other side. So, and then thereafter, we are going to have a presentation by Mirima Security on how you can be able to look at the cybersecurity of not only your data, but also the data you collect. Thereafter that we are going to have a cocktail from 4 to 6. If you kunywa. Yeah? So your money is still really working. Then we are going to have a gala dinner and Lego Innovation Awards ceremony. The Radical New Bar Council felt it prudent to be able to award some people who have really been steadfast in this journey to see how we can be able to move from analog to digital. Are we going to finish? So for the gala dinner ceremony is going to be for Abalondemu. So we are going to have the ceremony, and then also we'll have a dinner for some of these innovators here. Yes. Yeah. So basically that's how the day is running. But I think apart from that, that is the general.
Yes, that's overview.
That's the overview. But the juice is not in the overview. The juice is actually in the booth.
Okay.
Because we are having exhibition booth.
Okay.
So that in this exhibition booth, you'll have time with these tech innovators. We are having over 40 tech innovators that are coming in different fields. We are having URA coming to show you the e-filing system and so on and so forth. We are having so many, it's not different government departments. We are having ICMIS, we are having URI. Yeah? Some of lawyers up to date don't know how to use that online law library. Yeah? So we are having all these. If you don't know how to do an ICMIS filing, We are having a booth. The Judicial has been kind enough to be there and show you how you be able to do filing and so on. So there is a lot of learning in the booth, and that's why the council resolved. It says, look, we are going to have our breakout rooms that are going to be purely a preserve for lawyers. But we also have Ellison's rich clients who also want to know that, by the way, I can check on my case without Ellison making me wait the whole day. So what can I do is you pay the 1 million shillings and you'll be able to access our booth. So that you're able to go through our exhibition booth. Yeah? Yeah, and that 1 million shillings also gives you an opportunity maybe to be in the same dining with Ellison as he's grabbing the dinner or lunch or something.
Without bureaucracy.
Without bureaucracy. Yeah? There's a lot. If I read to you the number of innovators and what they are innovating, we'll need another day. There are so many, over 40 innovators. We have hired a very big place for this. Yeah, so yeah, we are going to have wine and dining by the poolside. We are going to be having dinner by the balcony. Also, most importantly, considering the fact that we are not only dealing with the millennials like me and Ellison, we are also having the Gen Z.
We're Gen Z.
Ellison to vehicle to Gen Z. So we also have musicians around. So that as you are sipping that wine, yeah, you can shake a little. You know, as you are saying, Agali Benjole, Miyaka is so this is an aura moment. So it's a disruption. We are moving away from the traditional way of doing this. So we are now having, it's going to be fun-filled. A number of musicians, that be able to speak to your mind will be there. Yeah. Just like you saw during the launch, we had the Azawi. Yes. And we are having now a team which is super solid. You will be excited. Yeah. Away from the usual pleadings, you need to relax a bit. Yeah, thank you.
Just before Joy comes in, talking of the awards and digitization, I didn't hear of awards for digital service conversation is with technology because we have embraced tech since January. This question should be having an award somewhere. I'm ready to pick the award. I know you will send me, as is the conversing with these clients, you will send me to pick that award. Just a comment on that. On our award. Yes.
You want cheat notes, but sorry, my mandate ends on notifying you that there are people who are going to be awarded, and that the committee reserves the right on who is going to be awarded. But trust me, it's going to be a very fair process, and you'll like it. And those who have really been at the forefront of this, trust me, are going to be awarded. It's going to be a colorful function. You need to attend in person. I think I would encourage everybody to attend in person. Yeah, including young lawyers. This money is not very, very much, by the way. Some of this money is what is Alfred's used for weekend, transport or weekend. Transport money. So it's... invest in this. It's investing in yourself. Yes, it's opening new minds. And also it gives you an opportunity to be on the same table with Ellison. Ellison is here easy to catch. But the moment he gets out of this place, the bureaucracy is too much, my friend. So if you have this opportunity to access Ellison at this dinner, at the cocktail, you never know. You may be seated next to him during this conversation. Yeah, you may pitch him for a job, by the way. So please let the young lawyers subscribe, and it will be very good. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. The young lawyer has heard, because you already talked about investing in yourself and setting yourself apart from the peers. So maybe this is one of those. Now I want to bring you back to the conversation you've been having still on the program. you talked about, I think there's one of the breakout rooms for the first day. You talked about bridging the gap. I think there's going to be something between the seniors and the juniors, and I'm thinking this is where the young lawyer comes in. So I wanted to inquire, because I haven't checked the program, but I think I've been hearing the seniors and the manager and all those positions. And I am of the view that there's several young lawyers probably who have come up with different innovations. And you've mentioned that there are, I think you have like 40, but I'm wondering, among the 40, do you have any young person on the panel, especially on this bit of bridging the gap? Because if you're bridging the gap, but you're only having the seniors, where is the balance? In my opinion, you might be having them there, but I'm just wondering, maybe that's something you might want to highlight so that we are going with the mode of disruption and moving away from the traditional way of moving things. And I'm speaking for the young lawyer. So the other bit, that is question one, sir. The other bit was going to the legal education, and I know you hinted on it a little bit, which is also a panel that you're going to have on the second day. So my question is, or in the discussions you're going to have, because I believe that these are the policymakers and even the people that are part of this judicial conversation, that the judicial service conversations that we normally have, they're the people that are making the changes. They're making the policies and the rules. So I'll give an example of LDC. I was there not so many recent days, months. Recently, yeah. But I know that we were in class with people, some seniors, but when it come to assignments, they couldn't even type out a document. They needed a young lawyer or pay them or something to come and do something for them. And yet these are people that are being trained to come out and experience the digital era that is changing. So how is the law education preparing for the young lawyer who is coming into this space? Because you've also mentioned in the conversation earlier that I think 30%, you gave it a percentage of 30, I beg to be advised, of the lawyers that are present in the country not able to meet the number of, the need for lawyers in the whole country. So as we push for that, how are we preparing for that, especially at the level of like LDC and the transitions that are happening and trying to, get it away from how it's been running? Could you please address that? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I think I'll start with question number one, that is with respect to bridging the gap. First of all, the topic in itself speaks for itself. It says, cross wires, bridging generational perspectives on legal tech, theme, tech tensions, learning curves, reverse mentorship, and common ground between senior and younger lawyers. The topic in itself tells you that there is already a gap. We are in completely different schools of thought. So we are saying reverse mentorship. What has been happening is that the senior lawyer has been mentoring the young lawyer. This is how things are done. And that has helped the young lawyer. We are saying, and I started with a proverb from my village, that on a rainy day, the young ones drum and the elders dance. So consider this a rainy day, because we are now having reverse mentorship.
You're muted, sorry. Sorry, our speaker is trying to address.
Sorry.
Yes,
Yeah, sorry. I was saying that the topic in itself speaks for itself. It highlights tech tensions, reverse mentorship. And I told you that in my first parable from my village, which I like, Lopada, Budaka, it says that on a rainy day, the children drum and the elders dance. So consider this a rainy day. When we talk of reverse mentorship, we are flipping the coin. Previously, what has been happening is that Ellison has his mentorship series for the Alfred on a,
Now they're the ones who mentor me.
Now they're the ones mentoring you. Because they are speaking of these technologies and you are like, how does that work? So we want this conversation to come now without reservations. Because naturally, unless you're open-minded, sometimes elders, the gen say, "Baline ntondo." So we are saying, no, these conversations are normal. Let us have a conversation, which is the trend is set by the senior colleagues in the bar, and they are able to learn from the junior colleagues in the bar. Because even the adoption of these technologies, unless the Ellisons get convinced on why they should be able to use AI, trust me, you're going to have challenges as a young lawyer to convince them why they should use AI. So that's why we are having that conversation. So the reverse mentorship, actually, where is the young lawyer? The young lawyer is actually the one who is moderating this, is the one asking questions. It's a panel discussion. And then we are expecting also, the other side. By the way, it's a learning session. It's them learning mainly from us. That's why we are bringing them so that we also, the young lawyer is able to understand, by the way, what are these issues these seniors don't get to pick. Yeah? Why we need this conversation, Ellison, is when I was starting, I was telling you that one of the young lawyers in my firm was telling me that, for us, we no longer resign. When you stress me, we ghost you. So I said, what is ghosting? He says, you send messages, I don't what? I don't blue tick. I read and put them back. Hey, so because of that, we are completely in a different generation, and that's why there is need for reverse mentorship for us to understand each other. Yeah, in this digital era, it is important. Yeah. So the other question was the legal education. We are having this conversation here, but then the machine that is churning out lawyers is not having this conversation. And that's why one of the panelists, by the way, is Dr. Pamela, the director LDC, so that she's part of this conversation. One of the people who are making a presentation and sitting part of the panel is Professor Muchibi, very enthusiastic about legal education. And we are having a full, I think 1 hour or 30 minutes presentation by a celebrated professor in technology. That is Professor Venasius Baria Moreva. Yeah, on a personal level, he's one guy I would pitch for at any one time because I happen to have sat on the same board with him some time back. And I can tell you without any contradiction, is the best pitch for this. He's not a lawyer, but trust me, he has been all through this. He's a professor of this. So that comes into legal education. And he's coming from a university, which is, I think it's called UNICAF University, where he's flipping. He's saying, look, you guys are teaching the law this approach. I am teaching the law this approach. And we want to understand, okay, the kind of courses you is promoting are a little bit different from, so we want to have that conversation, why, the how, the when, and so on. And he's the right guy to ask these questions with respect to legal education and the disruption.
Okay, thank you. If you're just joining us, we are on the Judicial Service Conversations, a weekly conversation where we discuss all things law and justice. We like focusing here on access to justice. We like focusing on how we can improve what's happening in our country. And today we are discussing justice and digitization, and particularly we are looking at what used to be called the annual law conference, but I think has been renamed this year the Digital Tech Festival. And this, of course, is the Kasiki. Tony, I think one of the big issues we always discuss here, because technology is about access, and it's about democratization, you said. When you deploy technology, you give examples, for example, of what happens at URSB, for example. where you deploy technology and people are doing searches, what used to take days, they're doing them in hours. You deploy technology to equalize, to leverage, to expand, to democratize, to bring services closer to the people, to make things faster, to make things cheaper, to make things quicker. We have been having I don't know if you've been following our debate here on these spaces for a while. We've been mainly focusing around Article 142.2 of the Constitution of Uganda, which provides that where the state of business in the court so requires, the president may, acting on the advice of where the Chief Justice informs the Judicial Service Commission that the business of the court so requires, the president may, acting on the advice of the Judicial Service Commission, appoint people who are qualified to be judges for a specific period. And we have been saying that written in our constitution is a provision for mission-based judges, where you have a situation of COVID, for example, and the whole bench has COVID. You can get people who don't have COVID but are qualified to be judges. Yeah? You have a situation where you have backlog. In this country, we have a massive, massive backlog crisis, a constitutional crisis, where now you appear in the High Court applying for an injunction, and the judge tells you that either I'll give it or I won't give it, but what I'll do, I'll give you all a speedy hearing. We shall finish this matter in a few months. I have granted the injunction. You're unhappy with the one who has lost, but don't worry, I'll quicken the process. Or I won't give you an injunction now, but let's just go straight into the hearing and I'll be quick. So right now, a fair trial, a speedy trial, is no longer a constitutional right, but it's now a bargaining chip, a promise.
Yeah.
In a land matter, in a criminal matter, in any matter. So, digitization and judiciary and how to make the judiciary more effective, you've addressed that. There's also these constitutional tools like 142.2. I don't know what your take is on that sort of thing. If you're joining us, please, this is the Judicial Service Conversation. This is the Kasiki for the Tech Festival. This is the place where legal conversations are made to make sense to ordinary and extraordinary people alike. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Ellison. You place your questions in a manner which makes the person supposed to respond to them, racing for the corner. But I would look at these acting judges, Article 142, as a spare tire, in my opinion. We need a more lasting solution. So these digital systems help us avoid this forum shopping. Because now, when you have digital systems in place, it now actually means that instead of having these 20 judges who are all having COVID, okay? Now, with the blockchain kind of system, work which is supposed to be done by so many judges, first of all, can be reduced to a few judges. One of the crises we have in this country is the number of judges. And you know why? Because we are still thinking digital. We are still thinking analog. We are still thinking analog because for a judge to render his judgment, he must read, those 20 cases to get a precedent which fits to purpose. But when we adopt these technologies, first of all, the issue of Article 142 will be rendered useless because situations of that nature would be very minimal. And as lawyers, in my honest opinion, we should be at the forefront because we are the culprits of the effect of 142. Why? Because we are human beings. We have expectations. If you are going to ask to appoint me as an acting judge, and you have interest in a matter which is being handled by Ellison, for heaven's sake, I need my promotion. I need to be confirmed. It's natural. Let us not even shy about it. It's natural that I'm likely to think twice if I receive a call. So let us not rely so much on the spare tire. For now, yes, it may be helpful temporarily, but it can take us a long journey. So taking up digital systems, blockchain systems that are able to enhance and solve the issue of even judicial officers trying to have biases. You know, sometimes these are human beings. You appear before a judicial officer, and maybe you are not as handsome as Ellison. So even when you are speaking English, natural bias, your face appears a very arrogant fellow to the man. So these are all natural biases. Now, they're natural. So these blockchain digital systems are not taking away the judicial officer, but they are going to limit the use of Article 142, subsection 2. They will render it a spare tire so that it only comes in very extreme cases. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for that. If you're just joining us, we are discussing judicial service conversations, and I think the question of it being a spare tire, I agree. The problem is that the wheels of justice are punctured at the moment. So spare tires aren't such a bad thing. If you're just joining us, we're having the judicial service conversations. We are joined by Mr. Galandi Tony. Tony is the current convener. Would they call you convener? Is that what they'll call you? What's the title?
I'm the chairperson organizing committee. That is, to put it simple. Ideally, I'm supposed to be called a convener under instruction of the most perpendicular president on behalf of the council.
Tony is the convener of the judicial, not of the judicial service conversations. He's the convener of the tech festival, which is happening tomorrow with Uganda Law Society. We've been here for 2 hours now. I don't know if there are any questions that we have. We need to start releasing this man. He has been working all day, and he has to go and work even at night to make sure that the conference is meets the expectations as billed. So Joy, I don't know, Alfred, are there any questions so we can start winding up?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Gandhi, for this insightful conversation. I just have one question from the audience. One sent a message and as they say in law, you are illiterate not because you need to go to school, but if it happens is that the document is in a language which you don't understand, then you are illiterate to that extent. So you could have gone to school, but if the document is in Lusoga, you don't understand Lusoga, then you are illiterate. So when you are speaking of tech, I think some young lawyer realized that you could be illiterate as regards technology and digitization. So his question is, what does digital literacy mean for a 21st year century lawyer? Is it simply knowing how to use core technology like ECMIS, spelling on ECMIS? Some people don't know how to spell on ECMIS. Is it simply knowing how, understanding data, the algorithm, you join it and you really want to see something, but then it comes up when you are thinking about it, and the algorithm doesn't lie. Is it knowing that, or knowing some little issue about cybersecurity? What does it mean to be when you are digitally literate? And then how can you become maybe digitally literate so that you catch up before the world leaves you? Because some of us are, at least they are somehow literate. If it was school, maybe we ended in senior 2 as regards digital literacy. But then we would want to push. But then there are those who, from the ones who think is very literate on digitization. What does digital literacy mean to you, and how can a person catch up? I think that's the question I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alfred. You know, Y2K, year before 2000, a person would call a computer literate. All he needed to know was he has an email address and he can switch on a computer. By those standards enough, if you went for an interview and you have an email address, one of the interviews they would do then, I'm told, is they would give you a computer. And they say, can you be able to switch on the computer? Do you have an email address? They would even give you assignments like, you type for us a letter. Yeah, so that was computer literacy. So when you talk about digital literacy, first of all, in itself is subjective, because the level of digital literacy depends on the area you are in. What you call to be digitally literate in an area, you'll be an amateur in another area, or depending on who you are standing with in that sphere. So digital literacy, in my humble understanding, is a simple translation of the previous computer literacy. So at our level as a young lawyer, for starters, when you get your phone, are you able to utilize that phone to give you knowledge on particular things you need? Are you digital literate? Are you able to, for starters, to use your gadget to gain knowledge in areas of interest? That's the basic meaning of digital literacy. You are digitally literate. You can be able to search, you can be able to type a document, a Word document, you can be able to pick themes and so on. So basic things. The other is now a build on what you have. You know, you're saying, okay. So that's my understanding of digital literacy.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. If you're just joining us, Judicial Service Conversation, discussing justice and digitization. Yes, so we have Mr. Galandi Tony Kire, who is the chairman, organizing committee of the what used to be known as the annual law conference, but has been rebaptized as the Digital Tech Festival. And we've been discussing all things digital. And here since 7 o'clock, it's now coming to 9:13. I don't know if we have any further questions, or we can ask Tony for his closing remarks. So, make a pitch. Then we in our audience, we have a number of non-lawyers as well. A number of non-lawyers who want to understand what's happening in the legal space, what's happening with these lawyers, and they want to know precisely what's up. So, and then we have a number of young people, and the young people that's from my age and below. We are very young.
Very, very young.
And then we have people who are slightly older. So, for example, we have Mr. Nicholas Opio and above. So we want you to address those people about the conference tomorrow. But I see a request also from the president of the Law Society. I don't know if he can. I don't know if he has been added. I don't know if Alfred, you've added him. I don't know if he has a question for you. But I'm not sure. The most perpendicular. But it seems is the request gone through?
Yes, yes, yes.
So is he a speaker?
Yeah, let me just see. Let me confirm. Yes, I see the president Elias has joined us. He's on as a speaker. I'm sure speak will pass. I know the time is overspent, but since Mr. Galandi's dear wife, Dr. Rose Nakas, has been on the call since 7, he knows where the man is. They will open for him. So we shall take this question from Mr. President or his comments. Thank you. Mr. President, if you're able to speak, you can unmute and proceed.
I don't see him as a speaker.
Yes. Sorry. Let me see. Yes, we can.
Yes, we can. Good evening. Your fellow co-hosts. Conversations. I missed the question completely. So please, be kind enough to share.
What was your question?
No, I actually didn't have a question. We were just wondering because we saw you requesting to speak, and we thought you wanted to ask convener some things he had left out so that he tells us, or you wanted to ask him a question. Yes.
But seeing that you're here, Mr. President, maybe you can. This is the official Kasiki for the for the conference tomorrow, and I think there are many members of the public and many members of the Law Society who are on. Maybe you could just, from the perspective of the council, very briefly give us your view on this change of the annual law conference to the tech festival and what is out there for people, just before Tony can also wind up.
Well, first of all, compliments to you. Mr. Karanga, you have become such a great conversationalist. Even your metaphor game has completely surpassed. It is at the bar in Uganda.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Deployment of image of Kasiki is quite apt and well. Our to install your purpose committee to help us pivot from conference to festival was indeed a radical decision. And I only put up my hand to register my compliments to the exceptional chairperson and convener for the inaugural festival, the Tech Fest, Mr. Tony Garandi Kaya. That's Sheila pronounces it. Just that listening to him throughout the last 2 hours and working with him in the last 2 to 3 weeks, it's not more than that, did me over a very transformative movie that kept me awake many nights in my formative years. It was called Bodyguard from Beijing. Mr. Kawanga, I don't know whether you partook of the Kung Fu tradition.
We can only imagine that movie.
Yes, it was the quintessential Jet Li movie because he then became highly demanded beyond Hong Kong. Many of our colleagues who will take the chance for this pivot because it won't be the same again. Those are the instructions we gave an earlier chairperson. He, as Tony confessed, on the matokeo from 2 months of planning, and we said the market pivots. They are supposed to be the number of showcases must exceed the number of speeches numerically. Nobody should go for lunch without proof digitally that they have passed through a specific threshold of showcases. There won't be free lunch at Monyonyo. Quote at ICMIS, they give you points. What is it called? There's no doubt of swiping, QR coding. So there won't be a woman serving coupons. No, it's the coupon. You reach the lunch thing and you swipe. You don't have the threshold. You have to go and the tools and knowledge that please the council before you can partake. And this is not to punish colleagues, but to acknowledge that without a nudge of a lover, a benevolent beast, we are all potentially skeptical new technologies. We are, in the words of one of the that addressed us here, I was attending their House of Delegates conference in Toronto. It's 100% for 1000% against change. And everybody in the room nodded with approval because that's who we are. And he offered some justifications. And he said, well, perhaps it starts from law school, where the method of instruction is to look backwards into the graves of yore and, in antiquity. So, we're a special breed of professional. To achieve our credentials, to make our bones, we have to show that we are excellent at being backward looking. The rest of the world subscribes to a different ethos. Success and excellence is about being forward looking. Now, there's a conflict. The finest use of the bar, the finest traditions of the bar, our made in precedent. AI says precedent? What precedent? I have precedent. I even have fictitious precedent. You know, He's so kind and polite and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, did I give you something wrong? I'm sorry, forgive me, but you can try again." So we're in a strange land, and we wonder even what will become of our profession if we don't come to the Choto. What's Choto, Mr. Karanga? Since we are using metaphors of Baganda. To the fireside chat. If we don't leave the conference room and come to the exhibition and submit to submit to grants teaching us. Thought I like the phrase Mr. Tony used. The ordinary client must drive from Moyo to come and see the expensive Mr. Karuhanga in Kampala, who is busy. We are stuck in that format. But AI disagrees. AI is offering the fisherman in Amuru all their necessary material, and they want you to, work at that speed. So we are in this time, and we should, if we are left to our own devices, we would honestly be holding the 8th annual law conference, and the next year we would do the 9th annual law conference, and society would pass us by, business would pass us by, things like complaining, brokers would eat up all our field, our meal lunch, and we would be dead men and women walking. So I am still in this belief about the productivity. This man is a dynamo. Um, with humility, with kindness, I'm the generosity. It's the colleagues in practice that have to his call. His leadership is a natural born leader. Is immense. And for me personally, for my friend, so the example Tony showed us by coming to speak to his members affairs office and say, look, I am a tech law specialist. I saw that the president and council announced a radical no, but I don't feel it. Nobody has come from the back to come and ask me about lawyer. How do I bring ethics? He reported to the lowliest of the lowliest officer at the bar, his members affairs officer, and he was flagged up. To a president who is not, remotely connected to him. And distance was no him in that time. We said, well, let's hear what you have to say. And it was obvious. Like I said, like the movie Bodyguard from Beijing, we just realized that I don't want to blaspheme people here, but we're in the midst of a prophet. Him speak. So Tony, we are grateful. Our colleagues, come and share in the blessings that we have witnessed ourselves. I should probably say something here. It's exceedingly honored to be voted by such a landslide. But we don't do decisioning by landslide. We we are struggling with our own identity and purpose for many reasons as the bar, and we have to acknowledge this. And there are some who have said, "What's all this disruption about? You know, is it coming from self-hate? It's not coming from self-hate. It's coming from an acknowledgement of the pain and trauma of of stagnation. And yet there's a much abundance. You have Advocate Joel Basoga, a young man who barely 25 years old, but has access to Professor Saskind by email, in WhatsApp. It has been a blessing to see him, hear from him every morning. Summon all sorts of talent, and these are very young people. Watching them work has been watching them at work, and seeing that the biggest obstacle is unbelief. And you ask whether this unbelief comes from, or it comes from the skepticism at the bar. There's a sepsis of skepticism at the bar. Many people don't know that this is existential. If you do not come to Munyonyo tomorrow, if you put up a reason not to come and to participate physically, at least, but I thank those who have helped us digitally. You'll have split screens, so you'll be able to have as much diversity as well as those who are, physical. So there's no rip-off there. We've been assured that's the technology. I think that's what Tony left out. But of course, it was what could he touch and not touch. There's just so much. It's a festival. It's a jamboree. He has really executed this thing. So, but I just wanted to say, colleagues, at an individual level, tech divides us into early adopters on one end of the spectrum, people who are just pro-change, they just dive in head first. Joel Basogas of this world, they were not born with a laptop in their head, they are human. They attended our schools, but they just so happen to put themselves in that position to know Professor Saskind before their 25th birthday. He didn't. They breathed the same air, and he didn't. That's a massive divide when you think of it in terms of digital. A massive divide. And spectrum, we have skeptics, and the skeptics are more, and they're in positions of power. They are heads of law firms, heads of departments, they're not looking out to make these connections. So we are paying lip service. Of course, in the middle you have a sliding scale, left and right. Is so that we can have this fraternal intercourse and infect ourselves. Who have cowardice, we infect you with courage. Those who are taken us with something. The general product is rising tide lifts all boats. I think there are not enough words really, and there will be an opportunity later on to thank all those who have poured something in this pot. But it wouldn't have been possible without the leadership. The people you've worked with, and people like Nakamanga who don't ignore trends. others do, and that's the harm, the overall harm to the rest of the profession and the public by just ignoring. If you're on the call, if you've paid, if you haven't paid, ask yourself, what are the reasons why I haven't paid? I hope through this conversation that has been answered, that, you know what, at the end of Tony, the 14th and 15th of 2025, they are a clear red line in the sand. There will be those who are favored and those who are left. Will be very difficult. I can guarantee you, it will be very difficult. Leading the feet of the prophet. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. President. And right here, the prophet is here. So before his feet are cleaned, maybe he can give us some wonderful prophetic words of wisdom. Maybe
What do you see? Ellison, I can tell you, what I see is that the future is here. The only problem that it is unevenly distributed. Mandate I have from the bar is the mission of the Radical New Bar is that you and me must work together to distribute justice evenly through the power of technology. Let us not just digitalize the law, let us democratize it so that a banker in the comfort of Muyenga is able to get the same services from Ellison like a farmer or a fisherman in Koboko. That is the instruction from my president. And if I'm to answer that question. Number two, why should you come? If you have still reservations, why should you come? As a young lawyer, why should you come? Number one, lawyers, we are trained to worship precedent. But you know what? Precedent is changing. And by you coming here, you are taking cognizance of the fact that precedents change. You are taking cognizance of the fact that even the Bible was translated from Latin. That's now why I can be able to read it in my Uruguere. Had they stuck to that position and saying this is the word of the Lord and translating it is going to dilute it, maybe you and me would not be having this. So the future is here, the future is now. Our mission is to make sure we fit in. And this is a storm. You are left behind, it will take you a lot of time to catch up. Number two, why should also a young lawyer come? The young lawyer should come, and also the senior lawyer like Ellison should come, because number one, there is blockchain technology that is going to take away that legal practice you fancy so much of land conveyancing. Yes, it is coming and it's already here. So you're going to lose clients. Today, when I will start legal practice, one of the places to make a quick money was searches. Would charge $1 million shillings to do a search for a client. And all you needed to do is to call a registrar and say, why? Plot 102, block this, can you check for me? At a courier encumbrance. And you eat the $1 million shillings. Today, the lawyer, the client comes when he has his search certificate.
Yes.
So you need to be part of this change now. So that's why you need to attend, because you are in history. Knowing basic things like economics is like knowing the alphabet. It's the bare minimum anybody who has gone to school should start with. The lawyer tomorrow is that lawyer who is going to speak Python like a street Luganda kaja chechiriwo. I promise you. That is the lawyer. Otherwise, the one who is going to be speaking best things like economics will no longer be the lawyer of today, will be the historian of tomorrow. So, as I wind up this, I promise you, I encourage everybody, both senior lawyers, young lawyers, the change is here. The radical new bar has taken this step to drag us by force. And I love that. And I think that's why we had the theme, demilitarization, democratization, so radicalization. He's dragging us by the neck, saying you will be here. You will take on this transformation. So be there. You will not regret. You are going to learn new areas of practice. You're going to see new opportunities. You are going not to worry whether Ellison is going to fire you tomorrow. You are actually going to actually think of how to employ Ellison. Because maybe the technology and the areas of avenues of practice are going to be an eye-opener for you, and your recommendation to your boss, to your managing partner, say, look, can we do cryptocurrency? Look, can we do data policy? Can we be able to look at ethics? Can we be able to go after these doctors who are giving out patient data to a number of these international firms with ease? Look, can we be able to go after... So it's amazing. By the time you leave that place, you will be having a new area of practice. So thank you very much, and I really encourage everybody. But also, it's a nice place to come and deflate, Yeah, it's time to come and sit by the waters. Come with your wife, leave her in the parking. Yeah. So I think basically, but also as I wind this up, it will be very, very un-Christian and very great of me not to appreciate this opportunity given to me by the council and the president in persona to take on this mandate. He trusted me without meeting me in person and said, I want you to push this. And I'm glad that people like Ellison are giving me all the support, and they're giving the bar the support. And I've kept telling colleagues that in my career, I want to applaud the radical new bar, because it has created the glue that is bringing the common man in Koboko, in Adjumani, to the lawyer in Kampala and to the bar. It has done it dramatically. So I want to thank you, Mr. President, for giving me the opportunity to serve. And wherever called upon, I will definitely serve. But I also want to thank my team. I lead a team of 12 young lawyers, dynamic at Diamond Advocates, who have decided to grant me leave for 2 weeks so that I can be able to serve the radical new bar. I'm sure I will still find my seat. These Gen Zs don't play.
They've ghosted you.
They can go back when they have hosted you. So thank you very much, Ellison, for hosting me. It was a pleasure, and I look forward to an opportunity once again, if given, to appear on this very, very popular platform. You have a big following, Ellison, and please keep this up. But we must also credit you. We are here, we are enjoying the ambience of a very nice place. it comes with a cost. Yeah, so thank you very much. We are really very grateful, and I also want to thank my team. I don't work alone. We have a very hardworking team on the committee, the secretariat, the vice president, Mr. Asimwe Anthony, and our president. We were having a comment in this morning that, man, this guy here, you know, you feel like he's here with us. When he's talking, you feel that he's sitting next door. He's sitting on the next chair. And I think for me, that's the aura of leadership. When you feel leadership, then there is leadership. And I can tell you, as the bar, we are not feeling a vacuum. It's not there because we're working. Things are moving on. And we are looking forward to having him back real soon. And I'm sure Elson will be at the forefront of making sure our president is here. That's over to you. Thank you very much, and thank you, Alfred, and the rest. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please do.
Correct the record. It was started by the bench, by the neck. I would like the record to reflect that we have held them by the bends.
Okay. Okay. Thank you to the president and the prophet. We are honored and privileged to have had you here, Tony, and we are very privileged to have had the president of the Law Society and coming out to give you that strong endorsement that he has. I think the message of today is very clear. As the president said, a rising tide lifts all boats. As the president said, a rising tide lifts all boats, and as Tony said, we are entering into a new area of practice. So for members of the Law Society, on the 14th to the 15th of August 2025, the lawyers in this country are gathering for the Digital Transformation Festival. Those are 2 days where the law meets innovation, where AI, legal tech, and bold ideas collide to create a justice system fit for the future. We have heard from Tony that we are going to have AI-powered advocacy to tech-driven ADR, if my notes got you right, from data security to reimagined legal education, and it is clear that we are sitting down to discuss, create ideas, and go to the place where the future is forged. And so we are very grateful to you, Tony. We are very grateful to the council. We can see the vice president of the Law Society is on. We can see the treasurer of the Law Society is on. We can see representatives from the various areas of the Law Society are on. And we're very grateful to the president as well. And really to everyone who has come together to support our conversation today. I think for colleagues, let's not just watch the change, let's be the change. And one thing that he said, which I really want to wind up on, one thing that Tony said is that there'll be musicians around. And I don't know if we can still add to the musical list. I would, of course, propose a Frigo. I would propose Mr. Moses Matovo. As you know, Mr. Matovo has a song. Lawyers should know who are going. You know, very soon we shall be voting for members of the Law Society onto the Judicial Service Commission, and as members are in the voting basin ticking off the names, Mr. Matovu had a question which I hope shall be sung at the Tech Fest. Really, members of the Law Society, Olimujawa, Musaja Singers.
One more.
I've ended.
Yes.
Wow.
I was still listening to the music.